It is springtime on the Wilderstead, and it's the time of year we like to get some fresh fish canned up and into the pantry. Now, bear with me folks, I want to show you the recipe, but first I got to get a fish. This won't take long, trust me. Usually around the middle of April is when I start heading out and scoping out the rivers around here just to see what's moving around. This is my favorite river to fish. It's right in the backyard of the Wilderstead, and I'm pretty confident we're going to find something. Okay, this guy's a little too dark. He's been in the river a while. These guys are not your ideal eating fish. You want nice, fresh, silver fish. Look, you can see a lamprey mark there. We're gonna get this guy back in to do his job. I have another spot to check out here. I'm pretty confident about this spot. There's a nicer fish. Fresh. Silver. Very important. Bleed your fish out as soon as possible. Just in through the gills, slice them open, let them bleed out. So to prepare the fish for canning, we're going to gut the fish, remove the fins and the head. Then we're going to cut the fish into steaks to fit our canning jars. And we use 250 milliliter widemouth canning jars. Cutting a fish is pretty simple. Start right there. It's a boy. That will go into the compost. Now we're going to clean this out as best as we can. You want to get all of this bloodline near the spine out. Get it cleaned up as best you can. I usually just take my thumb, press it right in there, just like that. You can see how much is in there. Now we'll remove the head, right back here by the gill plate. And the head goes to caddis. Sweet. Next, I'm going to remove all of the fins from the fish and any of the bony areas. So you got the gill plate here, for example, pieces of the gill plate. Big long bone in there, you want to get that out. And the dorsal fin is a little bit trickier. Just going to go in on each side of it, just from front to back. Like so. some pliers. Just pull it out just like that. And now we'll start cutting the steaks. This isn't a terribly huge rainbow trout. Looks like we're probably going to get 5 or 6 steaks out of it. And again, you want to go about the depth of your canning jar. You want to leave a little bit of room for headspace. Sometimes you need a slightly heavier knife just to get through that spine. And we'll clean these up a little bit more, wash them under some cold water. These are perfect size for little chunks of canned trout. The tail, you can either just fillet it if you want, or just fry it up whole, throw it on the barbecue, anything you want to do with it. You could can it, we don't. I've now rinsed the trout under cold water, just to get any of that extra blood and whatnot off, and it's time to get it into the jars. The only additional ingredient is salt. Just regular pickling salt, coarse salt. We're just going to take trout steaks, put them into the jar, just like so. Now the way I pack these, I leave the skin exposed. Some people, for whatever reason, don't like that. So, to get around that, you can take your trout fillets, cut them like so, just to the skin, fold it inside out, put it into the jar. Then what you're seeing in the finished product is the meat. I mean, I don't see the need for the extra step, personally. Into each jar, we'll put a half a teaspoon of salt. Just sprinkle it on top. The salt isn't necessary, but it is a nice addition if you like a little bit of salt with your fish. These are pint-sized wide-mouth mason jars, 250 milliliter. I am just going to clean off the top rim of each jar, just to make sure we get a good seal. New lids. Always recommend using new lids. You can save your lids once they've been used, and in emergencies, reuse them. But I would not necessarily advise making a habit of that. Put these rings on relatively tight. Not over tight though. Now Now it's time to get these into the pressure canner. So we're just going to space these out inside of here. This won't quite be a full load, but that's okay. We're going to put some water in. Follow the directions on whatever canner you are using. In our case, we're going to put about 1 inch of water in here. And onto the burner. Pop that on. Crank up the heat. We're going to let this come up to temperature. We're going to vent it for about 10 minutes. Then we'll put the weight on. And we'll be cooking this for 100 minutes at 11 pounds pressure in our case. Your case might be different. Alright, this has been venting for about 10 minutes now. We'll put the weight on and let it get up to pressure. It does not take long, so you got to keep an eye on it. We are approaching 11 pounds pressure here, so I'm just going to make some adjustments on the heat back here. Bring it down a little. And now we set our timer for 100 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm also cooking up the tail. Not sure what we'll do with that yet. Maybe some fish cakes. Alright, we've been rocking at about 11 pounds here for 100 minutes. Time to turn it off and let it completely come down in pressure and cool down. The canner has depressurized and it's time to remove the jars. The liquid that you can see in there is the fat and water that was in the fish. And we are going to let these cool overnight. Now you can see the difference between the flesh exposed and the skin exposed. This does not bother me. It bothers some people. I'm not sure why. There's what it looks like if you turn your steak inside out. Now that you have your canned trout, you can use this in the same way that you would use tinned salmon that you get at the grocery store. Make sandwiches out of it, make salmon casserole, fish cakes, all kinds of things. It's delicious. Let's have a quick conservation moment. A lot of folks don't seem to understand sustainable harvesting. These fish move in to reproduce, and they're pretty easy to target. Believe me, if you know where to go, you're gonna find them pretty quickly. The main thing, be selective with the fish that you are harvesting. Don't overdo it. There's no need to. It completely goes against why we live the way we do. We're trying to be as sustainable as possible. That is one hefty Lake Superior steelhead right there. She's going back. She's gonna make babies.